Discover the incredible truth. Cashier's touching tears expose hidden struggles transforming lives in Maplewood. In the heart of Maplewood, 38-year-old Olivia stood behind the checkout counter with a smile that could light up the room if only the weight pressing on her chest would ease up. Every beep of the cash register felt like a timer counting down to her next bill, looming larger than life. She loved her job as a grocery store cashier, but day by day, the responsibilities of single motherhood and rising costs pushed her closer to her breaking point. Behind her bright eyes was a whirlwind of stress, financial strain, and an unwavering determination to raise her spirited 16-year-old daughter, Emma. Olivia felt the prick of tears whenever Emma's laughter rang through their small apartment, an echo of joy that reminded Olivia of the sacrifices she made. They sat at the dining table, bills scattered like confetti, each reminder of what seemed insurmountable. "Mom, you should take us to the festival this year." Emma's sparkling eyes glimmered with hope. The annual summer festival was the highlight of their town, a colorful burst of joy amidst the mundanity. But Olivia's heart sank. Rent was due, and the weight of their financial reality bore down on her like a cruel yoke. That day, as townsfolk shuffled past her checkout lane, she masked her worries behind cheerful banter, but the truth lurked beneath the surface. It was the day after bills were due, and she could practically hear the eviction notice tapping at her door. And yet, that evening, fate intervened. Mr. Thompson, a humble war veteran with a patchy beard and gentle eyes, stared at her with profound gratitude after she slipped an extra loaf of bread into his bag. "You're a true hero, you know that?" he murmured, and Olivia felt a strange warmth bloom in her chest. Suddenly, his words shaped a moment of undeniable clarity as she realized, the smallest acts of kindness could ripple through the community in ways she'd never imagined. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Days turned into a blur leading up to the festival. Word spread of Olivia's kindness, and soon, it wasn't just Mr. Thompson expressing gratitude. Others followed suit. "We're all in this together," an elderly neighbor remarked, while others nodded in agreement. Hope began to flicker in Olivia's heart, bringing warmth back to her worried brow. But on the eve of the festival, when loneliness crept back in, doubts pounded at her resolve. Standing in front of the mirror, she wore an expression of defeat, overwhelmed by emotion. The worry drained her spirit, and when the tears fell silent, unstoppable, she felt herself teetering on the edge between despair and hope. As the day of the festival dawned, excitement hummed like electricity through the air. Yet, Olivia found herself caught in a storm of emotion. Would she allow herself to join the blossoming community around her? Would she let their kindness into her heart? Standing at her apartment door, she felt the weight of uncertainty pressing down. The heart of Maplewood was alive, and waiting for her to take a leap of faith. Would she embrace their support, or retreat into her fears, clutching her burdens alone? As the sun climbed higher, casting a golden hue across Maplewood, Olivia stood frozen before her door. The festival buzzed outside, laughter bubbled up from the streets, music floated through the air, and vibrant decorations transformed the town square into a visual delight. But despite the joyous sounds, a heaviness anchored her down. "Mom? Are you coming?" Emma's voice cut through the haze, holding a mix of anticipation and concern. Olivia turned to see her daughter, glowing in a bright summer dress, her eyes sparkling with a blend of excitement and worry. In that moment, Olivia's resolve wavered. "I am not sure." The words came out strained, fragile like the hopes Olivia had been harboring. "Please. It will be so much fun," Emma urged, stepping closer. "Everyone will be there. We could have cotton candy, see the fireworks, just be together." Olivia looked into her daughter's pleading eyes and felt a familiar tugging at her heart, a blend of love and guilt. "Emma, I promise to take you next year. I can't right now." "But why?" Emma's voice broke slightly. "You're always saying we need to be part of the community. This is our chance. Mom, we need this. You need this." The pressure built inside Olivia. She wanted to be the mother who said yes, the one who made every moment special. But realities loomed like storm clouds: the bills, the unpaid rent, the gnawing fear of losing their home. "Honey, money is tight, and I don't care about the money. I care about you. We can have fun. We can be happy. Just let us try." Emma's honesty sliced through Olivia's defenses, awakening long-forgotten dreams of laughter and connection. The clash of emotions surged within Olivia, a tempest of what could be versus the cold grip of her day-to-day fears. Suddenly, a thought flickered through her mind: what if this festival, this moment of joy, could be the turning point they needed? She drew a breath, inhaling the hope hanging in the air. "All right," Olivia finally relented, her voice barely above a whisper. "Let us go." Emma squealed in delight, disappointment melting away into a bright smile. "Really? Thank you. I'll get ready." She sprinted off, her laughter trailing behind her like a ribbon dancing in the wind. As Olivia watched her daughter rush to prepare, a mix of apprehension and excitement filled her chest. Sunlight spilled into the apartment, illuminating the worries that had so long clouded her heart. Maybe she was taking a risk, maybe this festival was more than just a celebration. It was a step toward unpacking the burdens she had carried alone for so long. Dressed in her best outfit, Olivia stood before the mirror once more. The reflection looking back at her bore the hint of a smile, layered with anxiety but also freedom. She felt the gentle pull of hope urging her forward. Today was not just about the festival, it was about connection, community, and allowing herself to be loved. As they stepped outside, the festival was a riot of colors and sounds. Laughter rang in the air as people danced and celebrated the warmth of summer. Emma dragged her mother toward the crowd, each step igniting the spark of life Olivia thought she had lost. She was met by familiar faces, friends, neighbors, all gathering to celebrate. Worn smiles met joyful cheers as Olivia felt herself enveloped by a community she hadn't fully embraced until now. But as they stood together, engrossed in the festivities, a weight began to rise in her stomach. What would happen when the festival was over, when reality returned? Could this fleeting moment of happiness last? Just then, her gaze caught a glimpse of Mr. Thompson in the crowd. He waved cheerfully, and the warmth spread through Olivia anew. "Do you want to go there?" Emma asked, pointing toward the games tent where laughter bloomed. Olivia nodded, but deep down, she couldn't shake the tension curling in her chest. Would she let today change her tomorrow? Could she trust in community and kindness? As they approached the games, Olivia took a deep breath, wondering what awaited them next. The heart of Maplewood beat around her, alive with hope. And then, unexpectedly, her phone buzzed in her pocket. A text notification from the landlord flashed across the screen: "We need to talk. Important." Anxiety punched her in the gut, and she took a step back. As festive lights twinkled overhead, the joy around her felt like a cruel irony. Would the happiness of today hold against the harsh reality of tomorrow? Can hope truly prevail? Olivia stared at her phone, the words blurring as panic set in. The momentary euphoria of stepping into the festival faded, awareness of their situation crashing back down around her. She could almost hear the clock ticking, counting down the days until rent was due again. "Mom? You okay?" Emma's voice snapped her back, a soft worry etching her brow as she noticed her mother's silence. "Yeah, I'm fine," Olivia said, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Just got a message." "Are you sure?" Emma's gaze searched her face. "You look different." Olivia knelt to speak at eye level, her heart racing. I really am okay. Just think about all the fun we're going to have, alright? She shifted focus, reminding herself that today was for Emma, not her burdens. Yeah, fun. Emma cheered, bouncing on her toes as she looked toward the vibrant tent ahead. Olivia admired her daughter's enthusiasm, the way the festival seemed to call to her like a beacon. They stepped into the lively games tent together. Bright colors flashed around them, banners flying, smiling faces everywhere. Kids were winning stuffed animals and candy. Olivia felt the tension ease just a little. This was where memories were made, she reminded herself. They had come to create joy. Can we try that one? Emma pointed to a ring toss, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Sure. Olivia replied, covering her mounting worries with a layer of cheer. They approached the game, and Olivia handed over some tickets while Emma readied herself to throw. She was so full of hope and innocence, each toss accompanied by joyful laughter that bubbles from deep within. And as Emma hooted and cheered for herself, Olivia couldn't help but feel her heart swell. But then, a familiar figure nudged her from the crowd. It was Mrs. Williams, their elderly neighbor, who had seen better days. Olivia, dear. I was just sitting on my porch, thinking about you and Emma. How is everything? Olivia's smile faltered. Oh, we're good. Just enjoying the festival today. Mrs. Williams' gaze was sharp and knowing. Sometimes it's hard to believe that, isn't it? I see the strength you put into your smiles. You're doing a wonderful job with Emma, but remember, you can let others help you, too. Before Olivia could respond, Emma came racing back, a stuffed bear clutched triumphantly in her arms. I won. Look, Mom. Her voice rang with pure joy, dazzling Olivia despite the weight pressing down on her heart. That's amazing, sweetheart. Look how big it is. Olivia forced her excitement, attempting to block out the worried lines forming deeper on her brow. Just look. Can we take a picture? Emma dove into the crowd and pulled Olivia close, catching the smiles of strangers who passed by. In that moment, with Emma's warmth radiating beside her, the world felt almost infinite. But even though the day was drenched in splashes of joy, the buzz of worry remained. Would the picture they took turn into a reminder of what's unsustainable? As she watched Emma jump up and down, holding her prize, Olivia felt the bittersweet twinge rise again. Then, a sudden shout split through the air. Nearby, someone had stumbled, their laughter turning to gasps. Olivia's gaze snapped to the commotion just as a father caught his child before a fall. The jeering laughter from earlier swiftly turned into applause, but beneath it, threads of anxiety intertwined with their joy. Can we go watch the fireworks later? Emma asked, hugging the bear, an innocent glint in her eyes. Of course, sweetie, Olivia said, but her voice wavered. Just let today be happy, okay? Emma added, softening her grip on the bear. You deserve this. Yeah, Olivia murmured under her breath, the weight of her daughter's words pressing on her heart. Suddenly, the loudspeaker crackled to life, announcing the upcoming fireworks. Emma's face lit up with anticipation, and Olivia tried to mirror that excitement. But deep down, she was torn between wanting to hold on to this moment and fearing what awaited her later. As they prepared to grab snacks before the show, the text from the landlord echoed in her mind. What conversation would they have? Just as she was about to voice her concerns, Emma tugged on her arm. Look over there. They're starting the parade. Olivia turned to see a procession of colorful floats gliding down the street, bringing smiles to the crowd. But in the back of her mind, the question lingered: how long could they ride this wave of joy before crashing back into reality? As the parade enveloped them in noise and visuals, Olivia took a breath. Maybe today was a distraction. But was she brave enough to learn what it meant to be truly happy, even in the shadows of worry? The sound of drums echoed through the colorful chaos, each beat resonating like a warning. What was waiting for them when the celebration shifted and the music faded? Would she be able to rise amidst the uncertainty that loomed ahead? Olivia felt the warmth of the sun on her skin, washing over her like a gentle reminder that there was beauty even in chaos. As the parade marched on, vibrant floats passed by, each one stirring memories of simpler times when life hadn't felt so heavy. Emma squealed with delight, her little fingers pointing at the colorful characters dancing alongside the floats. Olivia glanced at her daughter, drinking in her joy, her laughter ringing out amidst the cheers of the crowd. But then, as the drums continued to beat, the happiness around them felt like a fragile bubble. Olivia felt her chest tighten again. Each cheer seemed like a trigger, echoing back to the worries lying in wait: the bills, the expectations, the endless cycle of struggle. She battled the guilt rising within her as she watched her daughter, wanting to protect this moment of bliss but feeling the shadow of reality creeping in. "Mom, look!" Emma's voice broke through Olivia's thoughts. She was pointing to a float covered in golden glitter and sparkles that seemed to dance like fireflies in the sunlight. Olivia forced a smile, praising the float while the knot in her stomach twisted tighter. "Isn't it beautiful?" Emma bubbled, her eyes wide with wonder. "Yes, it really is, sweetheart." But even as she spoke, Olivia's mind raced. How could she share in this joy when deep down she felt so frightened? She pulled Emma in close, wrapping her arms around her, unsure if it would comfort them both or simply make her worry worse. As the last float drifted by, the atmosphere gradually shifted. The parade was winding down, and Olivia could feel the electricity in the air change. People around them began to settle, anticipation building as everyone looked toward the sky. Emma's whispers of excitement filled Olivia's ears, but the heaviness coursing through her remained unshaken. "Can we get snacks now?" Emma asked, her face brightening with the thought of popcorn and cotton candy. "Of course," Olivia replied, her tone a tad too upbeat, but her heart was racing with fear of the impending conversation waiting beyond this joyous chaos. They found their way to the snack stand, where laughter and the scent of sugar hung heavy in the air. Emma began chattering about each snack as if it were a new adventure, her innocence a warm blanket covering Olivia's anxiety. "Popcorn. Can we get that, too?" Emma asked, her eyes almost pleading. "Sure thing," Olivia said as she reached into her pocket, feeling a mixture of relief and dread as the crumpled bills surfaced. The realization that every penny counted weighed heavily on her. After purchasing too much food, an oversized bag of popcorn, a couple of cotton candy sticks, and a sodden drink, the two settled onto a grassy patch, their little feast before the night sky lit up. Emma bounced between bites of popcorn, blissfully unaware of the small storm brewing beneath her mother's surface. The first firework exploded overhead. The brilliant colors illuminated Olivia's face, but a chill settled in the depths of her chest. The sparkles rained down like confetti, and she forced herself to cheer, to drool with wonder along with her daughter. Each burst of color felt bittersweet, it was dazzling yet fleeting, much like her waning sense of security. "Isn't this amazing?" Emma's eyes were glued to the stars above. "It is," Olivia said, drawing on every bit of strength to maintain her smile. Yet inside, the ticking clock loomed louder with each crack of the fireworks. How could they keep building a life when the foundation felt so shaky? Yet there was a hint of determination lurking. Watching Emma revel in the magic of the moment made Olivia realize she had to confront her fears head-on. Might it be time to reach out for help, as Mrs. Williams suggested? Could she navigate through the chaos without losing sight of joy? Just then, Olivia noticed a familiar face in the crowd, a fellow single mother. Their eyes met, and for a fleeting second, an unspoken understanding passed between them. Moments later, a particularly loud bang filled the air, causing Emma to giggle and hide her face against her mother. "It's okay, sweetie, it's just the fireworks," Olivia reassured her, trying to drown out the fear spiraling in her mind. But what if it was more than just fireworks? What if this was their moment to soar or to crash? The sky lit up again, casting a warm glow on Emma's glimmering eyes. Children around them clapped and cheered, yet Olivia remained engulfed in her own turmoil. As the next firework burst, the blinding light left her breathless. Could she muster the courage to ask for help? Or would the shadows of worry overtake them again? "Mom, I love this. Let us always come to see the fireworks." Emma beamed, resting her head on Olivia's shoulder. But could that dream hold true amidst their challenges? As Olivia sat there, feeling the weight and hope of her daughter's words, she found herself on the brink of discovery. What if embracing the struggle led to unexpected strength? Before she could answer the question meandering through her heart, another firework ignited, echoing deafeningly. Would this be the night their lives changed forever? Olivia felt the ground tremble beneath her as the next firework burst into the sky, sending vibrant colors cascading through the air. It was as if the universe was holding its breath, waiting for something monumental to unfold. She traced Emma's tiny hand as they watched, her heart racing, a mixture of fear and hope intertwining within. Emma's giggles pierced through the noise, creating a small pocket of laughter that enveloped them. "Look at that one, Mom. It looks like a flower," she exclaimed, her eyes wide with wonder. "Just like you, sweet pea," Olivia replied, her smile genuine this time. The innocence of her daughter was a balm to Olivia's anxieties, a reminder of joy that felt distant but not unattainable. But deep down, Olivia's heart raced not from the awe of the display above but from a different kind of firework, the kind that ignited fears and what-ifs about their future. She shifted, her gaze flicking from the awestruck children around her to the nearby vendors who were packing up for the night. The laughter that echoed in her ears felt like a wave crashing against the shore, sweet and fleeting. That's when she noticed the other single mother again, the one she had briefly caught eyes with earlier. This time, she stood just a few feet away, looking lost amidst the cheering crowd. Something in her expression struck Olivia. Was it distress, or just the burden of the day settling in? "Hey, you!" she called out, her voice barely rising above the roar of excitement. As the woman turned, Olivia felt the pulse of connection, a thread woven from shared struggles. "Glad I found you again. I'm Olivia," she introduced herself, her voice steadied by a mixture of nerves and a strange intimacy they both understood. "Anya," the woman replied, her smile warm yet tinged with fatigue. "Nice to meet you. Enjoying the show? It's amazing, isn't it?" Olivia nodded, gesturing toward the sky, but inwardly she felt the weight of their reality overshadowing the moment. Anya hesitated, her eyes flickering to Emma. "It is beautiful, but it's hard sometimes, right? To keep the spark alive?" "Yes," Olivia replied, surprised by her own eagerness. "Every day feels like a balancing act. I just want to make sure Emma feels safe and happy." "Same. Some days, I feel like I'm holding my breath, you know?" Anya's honesty disarmed Olivia, creating a bond that was both fragile and strong. "Absolutely. And then something like this happens, and you remember," Olivia whispered, glancing down at Emma, who was mesmerized by the display overhead. "You want them to have everything, but how?" Anya's gaze softened as if she understood better than anyone else. "Maybe it's not about everything. Maybe it's about being present, for our kids and for ourselves." The words hung in the air, resonating with Olivia's heart. What if being present meant facing her fears? Embracing the chaos without trying to control it? Another firework painted the sky, and the burst felt like an epiphany. "Can I ask you something?" Olivia said, her voice barely a whisper. "Of course," Anya responded, her curiosity piquing. "Have you ever thought about asking for help?" The question hung between them, heavy but hopeful. Anya blinked, and for a moment, they both stood in the shared vulnerability of motherhood, realizing that they were not alone. "Every day," Anya replied quietly, her voice thick with emotion. "I've been scared, too." As they stood side by side, wrapped in their own thoughts, the fireworks continued to explode, each one brightening the night yet asking a deeper question within their hearts: what if help was the spark they both needed? In the crowd, laughter erupted again, but this time their gaze lingered on each other, their newfound understanding feel as electrifying as the display above. As Olivia felt a flicker of courage, she knew this was only the beginning. How would they step into this transformation together? As the last firework faded, leaving a trail of smoke behind, a profound sense of urgency settled upon Olivia. She couldn't ignore the path calling her anymore. Would she find the strength to step forward and reach for help, or would the shadows loom larger, waiting to engulf them? The night air was cooling, tinged with the scent of popcorn and the lingering smoke of the fireworks. Olivia felt her heart racing as she turned to Anya, catching the vulnerability etched in her features. They stood together in the fading glow, the noise of celebration around them growing distant as the shared weight of their realities pulled them closer. Do you want to grab a coffee or something? I could use a friend right about now," Olivia offered, the words tumbling out before doubt could halt them. It was one thing to discuss their fears in the spark-lit moment but quite another to face them in the unfiltered light of day. Anya's eyes brightened at the suggestion, and for a moment, the weariness in her face faded. "I'd love that. It's been a while since I've actually talked about all this with someone who understands." With their plans set, they maneuvered through the thinning crowd, past families packing up and children giggling, wrapped in their candy-coated joys. Olivia could feel a sense of hope blooming within her, a warmth that was both unfamiliar and welcome. Could it be that this was the start of something real? Something that created connections rather than defined boundaries? As they walked, they shared brief stories of their lives juggling school schedules and work demands, the overwhelming yet intimate chaos of motherhood. But beneath the surface, deeper issues lingered, emotions tangled like the bright threads of a tapestry. Each revelation was another knot untied, each laugh a patch woven into the fabric of their burgeoning friendship. Over steaming cups of coffee, the conversation flowed. Anya spoke of her struggles with isolation since her divorce, how some days her apartment felt like a fortress more than a home. Olivia found herself sharing more than she anticipated, her fears of being enough for Emma, the nagging question of whether she could actually take control of their uncertain future. "I sometimes wonder if I'm doing it all wrong," Olivia confessed, stirring her coffee absent-mindedly. "What if I can't provide the stability she needs?" Anya leaned in closer, her expression earnest. "We're all just figuring it out day by day. It's not about perfection, Olivia. It's about showing up, being there, even on the toughest days." Their laughter mingled with the soft clink of coffee cups and the ambient chatter of fellow patrons. Each moment of connection chipped away at the weight they both carried. For hours, they lost themselves in conversation, the world outside fading away. But underneath the comfort of camaraderie, doubts still whispered. Just as they shared victories, each woman knew they were just scratching the surface. The truth behind their struggles festered deeper, hidden beneath layers of strength they had built over time. As the night wore on, a storm brewed within Olivia. She could feel the echoes of her earlier fears reminding her that reaching out was only the beginning. What's next? She thought, her mind racing as she nervously glanced at Anya, whose expressions mirrored her thoughts. With an unsteady breath, Olivia posed a question that had been nagging at her since their first encounter. "Do you ever think asking our families for help could really change things? I feel like it's such a risk." Anya's brow furrowed, a tender mix of sympathy and understanding painting her features. "It is, but sometimes the most rewarding steps are the hardest. Maybe it's time we took a leap of faith?" Their eyes met, the unspoken weight of that leap hanging in the air like the last firework that had faded into the night sky. Olivia felt an overwhelming sense of possibility as she pondered their next move. Would they have the courage to reach out, to find those supportive roots where they felt so fragile? With a heart brimming with both apprehension and hope, she knew this was only the beginning of their journey together. What would happen when they faced their families, laid bare their struggles, and asked for the help they truly needed? The next few days passed in a blur for Olivia. She found herself caught between the warmth of newfound friendship with Anya and the weight of her own fears. Each time she glanced at Emma, her heart swelled with love, yet doubt lingered at the edges of her mind. Was her daughter really going to be okay? Did she have the strength to create a stable foundation for them both? The soft ring of her phone jolted her from her thoughts one evening. It was Anya, her voice lively and bright, cutting through Olivia's anxious musings. "Hey! I was thinking, why don't we meet up again? Maybe this time we could take a walk in the park?" Olivia's heart leapt at the idea. The park felt like a safe space, where the trees shielded them from the world's chaos, offering comfort in nature's embrace. "That sounds wonderful," she replied, her voice softer than she intended. "I can bring Emma. She'll love the swings." A spark of excitement pulsed through Olivia as she hung up, envisioning the scene. Emma running, laughing, while she and Anya strolled side by side, sharing bits of their lives once more. But an undercurrent of trepidation tinged her anticipation as she prepared for the visit. The thought of involving Emma in their conversations felt terrifying. What if she overheard something that shook her innocence? When they met, the park buzzed with energy. Children were playing, their laughter filling the air, and the sky was painted a soft blue, a perfect backdrop to frame the day. Olivia felt Emma's hand slip into hers, grounding her momentarily. She breathed in the freshness of the air and decided to take the plunge. As they settled on a bench, Anya's face lit up upon seeing Emma. "She's beautiful, Olivia," she said, a genuine warmth in her voice. Emma beamed at the attention, swinging her legs and gazing around with wide eyes. "Thanks. She's my whole world," Olivia replied, a glimpse of pride shining through her uncertainty. As they talked about ordinary things, Emma's favorite toys, their shared love for coffee, Olivia could feel the apprehension slowly uncoiling. The laughter bubbled up naturally between the three of them. But after a few light-hearted moments, Olivia felt the pull to dive deeper. She could sense Anya's struggles beneath the surface, just as she was sure her own doubts were out there, waiting to be laid bare. "You know, Anya," Olivia started hesitantly, "we talked about asking for help the other night. What if we did that today? I mean, to really dig deep and share our fears? Right now, in this moment, it feels possible." Anya looked thoughtful, then glanced at Emma, who was busy collecting small twigs, blissfully unaware. "You're right. But only if we're both willing to truly lay it out there," she replied finally, her voice steady yet soft. "I mean, sharing with our families is one thing, but here and now feels intense." A wave of vulnerability surged inside Olivia. She felt exposed just thinking about it. Yet, she nodded, determined to leap into the emotional unknown. "Okay. Let us do it." As they began to share their fears, a silence settled around them, creating a sanctuary amidst the chaos of the park. Anya spoke about her lingering feelings of guilt and loneliness since her divorce, while Olivia shared her worries about being a good enough mom. Each confession served as a thread weaving together their stories, their struggles feeling almost mirrored. But just as Olivia was about to delve deeper, a sudden shout cut through their candid moment. A girl had fallen from a swing, crying out in pain. Emma rushed towards her to help, her instinctive kindness shining bright. Watching her daughter's generous spirit filled Olivia's heart with pride, yet it also sent a jolt of fear through her. Was Emma too innocent to handle the realities of the world they had just begun to uncover? With the air thick with both joy and uncertainty, Olivia clutched Anya's hand. What if this is just the beginning of so much more? Gazing into each other's eyes, they felt a simmering hope, but also recognized an impending challenge ahead. Would they truly be able to confront their families? And more importantly, what if their vulnerabilities led to something unforeseen? The question lingered between them, hanging like a promise of transformation. Olivia watched as Emma knelt beside the girl, her small hands patting the dirt-streaked face gently. The sight was heartwarming, a reminder that her daughter carried kindness like a beacon. Yet underneath that warmth, a sense of protectiveness surged within Olivia. She couldn't help but think about how shielded she wanted Emma to remain, even as her heart ached with the knowledge that life would inevitably bring challenges. The girl was crying, tears streaming down her cheeks, but Emma's comforting voice seemed to have an instant effect. "It's okay. You're gonna be all right." The words spilled out like a soothing balm, wrapping around both girls in a fragile moment of safety. Watching this unfolded a host of memories in Olivia's mind, the countless times she felt unprepared for what life threw at her, the fear that accompanied every misstep, and the warmth of friendship she was just beginning to build again. Anya squeezed Olivia's hand, bringing her back to the present. "You're doing an amazing job raising her," she said quietly, as though she could read the swirl of emotions within Olivia's heart. There was something about Anya's assurance that caused a deep breath to settle in Olivia's chest. "You know, sometimes we forget how resilient kids can be. They have a way of handling things we adults overthink." Her words resonated with Olivia, further deepening the bond they were beginning to build. She realized that they were both engaged in this metamorphosis, stripped bare of fear and ready to embrace their flaws, their strengths, and everything in between. Once Emma returned from her small mission, cheeks flushed and face beaming, she immediately locked her gaze with Olivia, bubbling with excitement about the girl's injury and how she had helped. "Mama. She fell and I told her to breathe deeply, and then I saw her smile. It was magic." The joy radiating from Emma filled the air and infused Olivia with warmth she hadn't expected. Their laughter collectively lifted the weight that had settled around the park, creating an atmosphere that felt electric. It was transformative, this interaction, this connection. Anya's eyes sparkled with unshed tears, reflecting both joy and vulnerability as she smiled at Emma. "That is truly magic, sweet girl. You have a special gift." But even amid the laughter, Olivia could still feel the echo of their earlier confessions lingering in the air. They both held on to the threads of their fears, a silent reminder of the challenges awaiting them. Just as she opened her mouth to speak, a rustling in the bushes behind them drew her attention. Before she could fully register what was happening, a snapping branch made them all jump. Suddenly, a small dog, muddy and wild-eyed, bounded into the clearing, barking enthusiastically. It dashed straight toward Emma, who squealed in delight and held out her arms. "Look, Mama. It's a puppy." The innocence in Emma's voice brightened the entire park, scattering the heavier thoughts like autumn leaves in the wind. Olivia couldn't help but laugh at the chaotic joy erupting before her. In that moment, everything else blurred away. The worries, the fears about facing their pasts, all of it felt distant as she watched her daughter connect with the playful creature. But as the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows that danced across the park, Olivia's heart thudded with the weight of their upcoming conversations. They would have to go home soon, and inevitably, they'd face the realities they tried to navigate. Anya caught her gaze once again. "Let us not lose what we've found today," she said, her voice steady and fierce with determination. "We can lean on each other when it gets tough. Together, we're stronger, right?" Olivia nodded, her heartbeat quickening. Could this truly be the lifeline they both needed? As the dog circled around Emma, nuzzling against her with playful zeal, Olivia felt as though they were on the brink of something transformative. But there was the nagging thought at the back of her mind: what if facing their truths led to heartbreak? "Maybe this is just the beginning," she murmured, not entirely sure if it was a hopeful sentiment or a warning. With the warmth of friendship igniting a small flame of possibility within her, Olivia knew that whatever lay ahead, she and Anya had already started setting out on a path of healing. But it felt like a doorway leading to a deeper unknown, where their true struggles waited. What awaited them on the other side of that emotional threshold? Would it be healing or heartbreak? Olivia inhaled deeply, bracing herself for the journey ahead. Olivia felt her heart race as Emma squealed, the puppy leaping around her in wild circles. The dog brought laughter, a whimsical break from the weight that had settled in her chest, yet a different heaviness began to creep in. She could see the day ending, the sun's golden rays dimming, and with them, the buoyant atmosphere of the park would soon fade. Emma giggled, her laughter ringing out like a chime, as she chased the puppy, her sneakers splashing through puddles left by the recent rain. Anya stood beside Olivia, a smile plastered on her face, but Olivia could see a flicker, a shadow lurking in her gaze. What had been a shared moment of joy now felt like a prelude to something deeper, something that they both knew had to be addressed. "Hey, Emma!" Anya called out, drawing the little girl's attention. "Why don't you and your new friend come over here for a minute?" Emma broke her focus, boundlessly excited. "Okay, Mama." She dashed over, the puppy mirrored her enthusiasm, tail wagging in a frenzy. As they huddled together, playful chaos swirled around them. It was a brief, innocent escape from reality, yet Olivia's gentle smile felt weighted with unsaid words. Anya took a tentative step closer, her eyes softening. "I think now might be the time for that talk," she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. The phrase sent a chill through Olivia, confirming her fears. With a resigned sigh, Olivia nodded, recognizing they could no longer delay the conversations waiting to unfold. "Yeah, I guess we can't avoid it forever," she replied, struggling to keep her tone light. The laughter of children and the pitter-patter of tiny paws against pavement seemed to fade into a soothing silence, punctuated only by the rustling leaves. Olivia sensed the shift, the air growing thick with unspoken words hanging around them like a tender fog. As Emma crouched to pet the puppy, a shadow danced across Anya's features. "I want to be open with you. There's something I've been meaning to share, something you need to know," she began, her voice trembling slightly. Olivia felt her stomach twist. Would it be more heartbreak? Or perhaps a commitment to truth that could lead them both to healing? "Whatever it is, I'm here. We're in this together," she encouraged, trying to give Anya the reassurance that they could navigate this storm together, just as they had for Emma. Anya inhaled deeply. "When we were in the park that day, I know it feels like a small moment, but it was pivotal. Remember the girl Emma helped? She reminded me of someone in my life, someone I lost. And I thought, I've been running away from those feelings." Anguish mixed with empathy surged within Olivia. She understood the weight of loss, she wore it like a second skin. "You're not alone," Olivia replied, her voice cracking under the weight of her own burgeoning stories. "I think, maybe we both are carrying more than we realize." Emma stood up, looking back at them curiously. "Mama, what are you and Ms. Anya talking about?" Innocence poured from her small figure, bringing light even in the solemnity of the moment. "Just some grown-up stuff, honey. But you've done such an amazing job today, we'll share some ice cream later, how about that?" Olivia smiled at her daughter, grateful for the way the little things could diffuse tension. "Yay! Ice cream!" Emma clapped her hands, momentarily distracting both women from the weight they were trying to navigate. But Olivia's heart raced with questions. Would this revelation strengthen their bond? And what lies beneath the surface of Anya's emotions? As Emma danced around with the puppy, chattering away, Olivia and Anya shared a moment, a silent promise to unravel their fears together. "Let's take a step," Anya broke the silence again, stealing her resolve. "Maybe, we can begin by sharing our stories. One small piece at a time, if you're willing." The weight of vulnerability settled in the space between them, filling it with raw possibility. But what would that mean? Could it really lead to the healing they both craved, or would familiar wounds reopen? As the last rays of sunlight slipped away, Olivia took a deep breath and nodded. The journey ahead could be transformative, yet so daunting. With an endearing squeak, the puppy tugged on Emma's skirt, dragging her toward the path leading out of the park. In that moment, Olivia realized that they could move forward cautiously or fearlessly together. Come on, let us go grab that ice cream. But maybe tomorrow, we start unwrapping our truths, piece by piece? The weight of their decision settled on the horizon, shimmering with promise yet colored with apprehension. As they left the park, something inside Olivia flickered with cautious hope, whispering that perhaps they could conquer what lay ahead. Would the unveiling of each story paint a beautiful portrait of healing or unearth deeper sorrows? The sun dipped low in the sky, casting a golden hue over Maplewood as Olivia wrapped her arms around Emma, feeling the warmth of joy diffuse into the tight knots of worry that had been her constant companions. They strolled side by side with Anya, who held the puppy tightly. Each step ahead felt like a bold step toward something new, a path marked not just by fears but the glimmer of potential. Can we go to that ice cream shop? The one with the rainbow sprinkles? Emma asked excitedly, her voice breaking through the heavy silence that lingered after their earlier, intense discussions. Of course, sweet pea. Sprinkles it is. Olivia replied, watching the way her daughter's eyes sparkled with joy. They walked toward the shop, bouncing between silly conversations and laughter. Anya's grin mirrored Emma's innocence, yet deeper in her gaze lay the weight of understanding. This was more than just about ice cream. It was a moment of connection, a promise to stand together as they faced their struggles. Once they arrived, the bright colors of the shop's facade greeted them warmly, but as they entered, Olivia felt a flutter of anxiety. How were they going to carry their vulnerability forward? As they collected their scoops topped with a cascade of colorful sprinkles, Emma wasted no time digging in. Her joyous frolic quieted any whisper of doubt that had threatened to resurface. "Ooh, this is so good!" Emma exclaimed, her eyes widening as if she discovered a treasure. "Just wait until you get the waffle cone." Anya laughed, handing Emma a piece of the freshly made crunchy dessert. Olivia watched, her heart swelling. This was the joy she could create for Emma, pure and simple. Yet with each laugh shared, she felt the subtle weight roll off her shoulders, making space for gratitude where fear had previously taken residence. In that moment, turning to Anya, Olivia whispered, "Thank you for going on this journey with me. It means more than I can say." Anya's smile softened, showing a deep understanding. "No. Thank you for being willing to let someone in. There's so much strength in that. We've never been alone, it's time to embrace that together." Their shared resolve filled the air, scattering shadows away as laughter bounced off the walls of the shop. Olivia could feel the bond they had forged shifting from mere survival to celebrating the life before them. The ice cream shop began to fill up with families and friends, each scene unfolding with the sweet aroma of joy surrounding them. As the chatter around them grew louder, Olivia's thoughts danced back from her anxious spiraling to the growing bond she shared with Anya. "Should we meet again tomorrow?" Anya asked, her eyes glistening in the soft lighting. "I'd love to continue sharing, maybe even take that leap with our families." Olivia hesitated for only a moment, the leap of vulnerability standing in stark contrast to the comfort of where she was, yet she felt the warmth of true connection urging her forward. "Yes. Yes, let us do that," she answered, her voice gaining strength. "It's time I face my truths, and I want to do it with someone who understands." Emma looked up, her mouth smeared with ice cream, wide-eyed and curious. "What are truths? Can I eat sprinkles too?" "Sprinkles? Yes. And truths are just what we're feeling inside. Things that matter to us," Olivia explained, wrapping an arm around Emma's shoulder. The innocent curiosity of her daughter reminded her that this journey was also for Emma, to teach her to be brave, resilient, vulnerable, and kind. They finished their ice cream, laughter echoing even as the setting sun painted the sky a deeper blue. Olivia felt something releasing within her, an acknowledgement that they didn't have to face hardship alone. That night would mark the beginning of a new chapter. The dawn breaking would signal the moment they destigmatized vulnerability and created a safe space for their honest feelings. When they stepped outside, the evening air welcomed them with a soft embrace. Emma clutched her puppy in one arm and Olivia's hand in the other, pulling them toward the glittering lights of the town. In that instance, Olivia felt the warmth of hope bubble through her veins, the same hope she wanted to cultivate for Emma. It was more than just surviving tomorrow, it was about embracing life fully, amidst its chaos, uncertainty, and joy. They passed familiar faces, greeted warm smiles, and Emma's laughter filled the void of hidden worries. "Can we watch the stars later?" she chirped, her spirit shining brightly. "Of course. Tonight is special," Olivia agreed. Each moment felt etched in gold, a reminder of commitment not just to struggles but to joy. As they arrived home, Olivia paused at the threshold, looking back at Emma and the puppy. The familiar weight of worry lingered at the edge but felt lighter now, like a faint whisper overshadowed by the joy radiating from their time together. This was the moment she had been waiting for, the chance to spark transformation not only within herself but in Emma too. "Let us promise each other whatever happens tomorrow, we'll face it together, no more alone," Olivia said, squeezing Emma's tiny hand gently. "Together," Emma echoed. Olivia smiled, breathed deep, and knew this was the start of something beautiful. The night felt alive with endless possibilities. They whispered dreams together under the stars, bonding deeply and wrapping themselves in hope. The laughter filled their tiny apartment, weaving a tapestry of love, connection, and fearless vulnerability as they stepped into their tomorrow. Their lives were reshaped not just by facing struggles but by opening their hearts to connection, love, and friendship, a perfect blend for healing. And with that, they stepped boldly forward, collectively promising to embrace their journey, knowing that tomorrow was just the beginning together. As we close this chapter, realize that you have the power to create transformation in your own life. Face your fears, embrace your truth, and connect with those around you. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this transformation and share your own stories. And don't wait not even one more second to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to show your support.